Hello, I'm Jesse Dahl, the Arboretum Senior Horticulturist at the Arboretum State Botanical Garden of Kentucky. In recognition and appreciation of the Arboretum Friends Bur Oak Circle, I would like to share some of my favorite bulbs with you, and thank you for your generosity and support. Here today, we'll cover some of the things that you'll be receiving, how to care for them and maintain them, and last in the video, we'll have a short segment on how to force bulbs in your home and provide you with the supplies to do that so you can even enjoy this in early spring before the rest of them are blooming. Inside your bags, you're going to have a couple of bags of bulbs, a container of potting soil, a bag of potting soil, and a 6-inch container. These two we'll be using later on for our forcing demonstration. The bags of bulbs you have here today, we have jet fire daffodils. It's one of my favorites. It is a miniature, so it doesn't get quite as tall, and the leaves stay a lot smaller, so it's easier to clean up in the spring and summer when it's done. And it has a nice yellow-orange flower, and it blooms really early. Etouffee hyacinths, they are a mix, so it's pink, blues, and whites. They're super fragrant in the spring, do real well for us here. And lastly, Christophi alliums. They are a really nice allium, hardier than most, and they have a large dinner plate size bloom that stays about 2 feet off the ground. So they've been really great for us here at the Arboretum, and we wanted to share them with you. Here we are in the garden. We're going to look at where to place bulbs to begin with. We're going to want a full sun spot, a spot where they can get a lot of light. They have to make the food that stores in their bulbs, and so those leaves need to be able to get sunlight. So you want to put them in a spot that gets a decent amount of sunlight. You're going to want to also think about, once they get done, the foliage needs to die down on its own, so it needs to turn yellow and start dying down on its own before you can clean it up. So you're going to want to find a spot where you can cover that ugly foliage. So maybe perennial, put it around the perennials, other perennials around it, or shrubs to kind of hide that foliage until it dies down. You're going to want a spot with a good draining soil. Most of these bulbs came from the Middle East. They're really used to kind of really dry soils and dry spells. Our summer is one of the worst causes of bulbs to die, is because it stays really wet and moist in the summertime. In their native habitat, it would stay really dry in their dry periods. That's why they've created the bulb. So we want a good draining spot to truly make these perennials. You can plant a lot of these almost anywhere and they'll bloom for a couple of years, but if you find the right spot, you'll get enjoyment for years and years to come. So we're going to show you also how to plant the bulbs. With that, we're going to dig a hole. With pretty well any bulb you get, you're going to want it 2 to 3 times the size of the bulb. So here with this daffodil, it's about 1.5 inches. So we're going to want it 2 to 3 inches deep. And that's from the top of the bulb to the soil. So you're going to about 4 inches deep probably for your whole thing. So after you dig a small hole, you can do it with a trowel, a shovel. You're going to place that on the bottom, pointy side up. You want the roots on the bottom, pointy side facing up. Place that in the hole. Take your soil and you can mush all that back in there. And then next spring, probably in March or April, those bulbs will come up and start blooming for you. We're now going to show you how to force bulbs. In forcing bulbs, what we're basically doing is we're mimicking wintertime. So we're going to put this stuff in our refrigerator, or you could put it in an unheated garage over the next couple of months and then pull it out into your homes, and then the warm temperatures in your homes will cause these plants to initiate growth and bloom way before you're going to get the ones blooming outside. It's going to require your pot or some sort of container, potting soil, and your bulbs. And to do this, it's pretty simple. We're going to take our potting soil, put about half of it inside the container. Today we've chosen hyacinth bulbs because hyacinths do really well being forced. They have a really lovely bloom and will work out, and they're super fragrant. So they're great to add into our homes in March and April. So you take the bulbs, flat side down or root side down, put 5 of those in the pot. If you do this with daffodils or something else, it'll vary how many you put in each pot, but you can do it with daffodils, with alliums, with crocus, with a lot of different things. But for the hyacinths, we're going to do 5 in the pot. After they're in, we'll put the remainder of the soil on top. We're going to pack it down a little bit. And then you're going to take this container, run it under water You can do that outside. You can put it in your sink, basically until all of it's nice and moist and there's water running out the bottom. And we're going to wait 5-10 minutes until the water quits dripping out the bottom so that it's nice and saturated. And you take that and you put it back inside the bag. And tie it up loosely so air can still get in there. And then you can take this container, put it in your refrigerator or in a unheated garage, someplace that it's going to mimic going through wintertime. And after 3 months, about 90 days, you're going to take that out of the refrigerator. Over that time, every 1 to 2 weeks, you're going to want to check on it, see if it's still moist. If it is dried out, add water again, let it quit dripping, put it back in the bag, and let it go for a couple more weeks. But it just depends on how much moisture your refrigerator is pulling out. But for us, it's about twice. And you pull that out after 90 days, put it in a sunny window in a warm spot, and that will initiate those leaves and flowers to start blooming, and it will bloom and perform well for you, and it should fill your house with lovely fragrance. Thank you for joining our class. We hope you enjoyed the bulbs and this video. And again, we want to thank you for your generosity and support.
Thanks from the horticulture staff for all your support to the Arboretum.
Thank you so much from the administrative staff.
Thank you for all that your donations have made possible from all the staff in the Kentucky Children's Garden.
Thank you so much. From all of us at the Arboretum, we couldn't do it without you. Your support makes us better, and we hope that you find enjoyment and pleasure coming here or supporting the Arboretum.